Hey guys, welcome back to episode 2, The Final Bell. Hey man, we are so excited, man. Listen, LeBron did it, man. He did it. He did it. Man, I'm so proud of that dude. Let me tell you, man, like some people was born to be what they are. And he's one of those people. He's a unicorn. I mean, he's a freak of nature. And for him to be sustain that consistency throughout his career, doing the same thing over and over and over, that's just a true testament of the type of person he is, but also the outstanding, gifted player that he is. Yeah. I'm so proud of this guy. He finally broke the record. Now, what does that do? It's just, man, let me tell you, I'm so proud of him. And this is outstanding.
You were speaking blasphemy last week, talking about now he better than Jordan. What's up with that, man? Come on now.
Hey, man, so I'm going to retract a little bit after reevaluating what I said last week.
Okay.
Here's my thing. He's the best, let's say, small forward. I don't like to talk about positions, and he the greatest small forward who ever played the game, and we always say Jordan is the greatest two guard that ever played the game. So I can go as far as saying that, but you got to put him in the conversation because he's still on Mount Rushmore.
For sure.
So we got to put him in the conversation. What he's doing, man, is just amazing. 20 years in the league doing the same thing, man. Even better with some of the most dynamic players, athletes that we have ever seen. He's doing that against kids that's 22, 23 years old, and they jumping over the basket. But they just go to show you, when you gifted and you talented and you take care of those gifts and that talent, this is what you get, longevity.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's something I never thought about, the fact that when he came in the game in 2003, how much has changed in the past 20 years, how the game is played, and he's still able to adapt and compete against these other young guys. I never thought about that.
Well, the thing is, too, when you think about Jordan and when people make that comparison, just a deeper thought, right? Michael was a scorer, period. You know, he could score. He'd do other things when he had to. Mm-hmm. Scotty did more the facilitating and making things happen. So all Jordan had to do is score. He scored and he played defense, right?
The best defender, one of the best defenders ever.
Agreed.
Yeah.
But LeBron, he have to do all of the above. Like he do the facilitating, the scoring when he need to. And he carried his team. Everywhere he went, he elevated his teams, man. So that's why he's going to always be in that conversation, I think. Always. And now that he got the scoring title, it's just, they just expedite, his greatness as far as I'm concerned.
How you feel about his defense, though? I mean, you don't think he's lacking with defense?
He played defense when he need to. I can say that.
He do his chase down thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Chase down blocks.
Yeah, but I'm gonna tell you though, he do just enough, and because he's human, right? Even though we consider him great and freak of nature and all that stuff,
yeah.
But he gonna have to preserve some energy somewhere, and because he have to do so much. So to his defense, but he played just a good enough defense, and just to make sure that his team is successful, and that's what he has done throughout his career. So I'm happy for this dude, man. That's amazing. That's big time for his family.
Yeah.
It's just the people around him. And what I like about the dude, he kept all of his people from high school in his circle, right? He kept his circle small, and he protected that. So he wasn't letting too many people in, which was the smartest thing that he ever did for his career, I thought.
He put them on, too. He put, instead of just, most dudes just, had a posse, give them money. Like, he put his guys on, like Rich Paul. I think he runs Clutch Sports, Maverick Carter. I think he does like I think he's like an agent and does some other stuff. So, he put them in positions to have company. So that's pretty cool.
I think that's the way it should be, man. I mean, with the people around you that's giving you right information. Because what happens, and I experienced it myself firsthand. Mm-hmm. So I was, fortunate to have some of the most talented players in the country that I work with, that I coach. But it's crazy how so many people want to get involved once you get a player to a certain level, and then it becomes like a domino effect. So people from all over the country that you don't even know about heard about the kid, so they flying here and trying to be a part of the movement. And so now you got all these different voices, and so the thing that the people that's coming in, they have to do, what they do is they have to try to eliminate the people that's closest to that person where they get their advice for.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like cut off the head of the snake, right? And then we can be controlling the narrative. But in LeBron's case, the dude was strong enough, smart enough, intelligent enough, right, to keep people around him that, number one, he can trust, that number two, that people were with him from day one, that got his best interests at heart, and was with him in the grind, right? And so you got to respect that. And that's why I say, like, as a person, as a man, as a basketball player, you couldn't be a better person, man.
True. I agree.
Yes.
So Super Bowl, who's your Super Bowl pick? Who you going for right now?
Well, we had this conversation a little bit last episode. The team that I think I'm gonna go against the grain. You know, it's hard with Mehan. That dude is a musician with that football, man. Some of the things that he do with that Mehan do with that football is remarkable.
Oh, Pat Mahomes, yeah.
Yeah, Pat, man. But I'm going with Jalen, man. I'm gonna go with Jalen. It's because I just feel like he got this whole energy around him. And just, you know, if you stay healthy throughout the whole game, I think they're gonna prevail and win this thing, because guess what? They ain't got nothing to lose.
They trying to say, you know, throw a little Sam Pat. I think he got like a high ankle sprain or something like that. And if they lose, you feel like, you know, that would be a good excuse, or do you feel like, hey, if you strap them up and get on the field, there's no excuses?
Well, once you strap up and you get out on that field, man, it's no excuses. It's like you're on a basketball court. Now, if you hurt, it's a difference between being hurt and being injured, right?
True.
So if you hurt, hey, man, don't go out there. If you injured, you can play, right? So that's the difference. So if he's out there, you know, you're going to have to be accountable for whatever. If you're successful, okay, so be it. But if you're not successful, you got to be accountable because you're out there.
That's true. I'm trying to get my daughter to understand that, man. She's a freshman right now. And, you know, she started probably about half the games in college. But every little thing, every little feeling, you know, she want to run to the trainer, oh, my knee hurt, or my wrist hurt. Or, I'm like, dude, if you can move it, you can play. Like, you can get out there and stop playing around.
Well, I think that not just your daughter, that's everywhere with most people, a lot of people, kids, man.
Yeah.
It's like it's just different now, because to be great at anything, or to be special, or to be good, or to even maximize your potential, your mind have to be stronger than your feelings.
Yeah, that's true.
Your mind have to be stronger than you, because your feelings, man. Let me tell you something. They'll take you places you don't want to go.
That's true.
And so you got to control that. You got to say, oh, no, I'm good. Now, you're talking to a guy, and I'm going to be transparent with this. I went to college, man, with a cast on my leg. Let me tell you.
Mm-hmm.
I had fractured my knee before I went to college, so I was afraid they was going to take my scholarship. And so I went to college, and they had tryouts.
Okay.
So I had a cast on my leg. So I go in the shower, wear the cast, take the cast off, go make the team, go back to the doctor the next day, put the cast on, and they made me captain of the team. So when I tell you your mind have to be stronger than your feelings, that's a whole nother level of obsession. That's a whole nother level of perseverance. That's a whole nother level of, I gotta make it.
That's the highest level. To take off a cast like that, that's definitely the highest level. But I get it, like, cause you were a freshman there, right? You was coming as a freshman.
I was a freshman, absolutely.
Yeah, so you felt like, hey, I can't lose this scholarship. I can't go back. I put in a lot of work and time. I understand that mindset. Yeah.
But let me tell you, it's sacrifice goes into rewards. And a lot of people don't want to make the sacrifice. And that sacrifice starts with you. That sacrifice starts with you being the best version of yourself and being strong mentally, right? And being able to fight and take risks, right? And it's gonna be some sacrifice. Now, I'm not telling anybody at home to do what I did.
Right. That's what I was just thinking. Like, kids, don't
Disclaimer,
don't take
do
out
that.
your cast.
I'm not telling you to do that, right? I'm not telling you to do that, but I'm just saying me, Bo Bell, that's sitting right here. That's what I did, right? I took a cast off and went and made the team. A lot of people say, man, you crazy. Now, the coach could have got in trouble, right? Had I got seriously injured. I could have lost my leg. I could have been crippled for the rest of my life. But that's the sacrifice that I made, right? So I was willing to die inside of my dream.
So your boy, Kyrie, man, I guess this divorce has finally happened between him and the Nets, man. I don't know how I'm feeling about this.
Well, I'll tell you, I originally thought they was pushing him. I thought he was going to go to LA, to be honest with you.
Everybody did, yeah.
My inside sources was telling me that it was pretty much a done deal. This is what I heard. And then, boom, out the blue. And I look up the next day, he's going to Dallas. So what I would say about that, look out the rest of the league, bro. Because now you got two guys that's dominant scorers. Like Luka could be on the floor. Now he's gonna be able to get rest more with Kyrie on the floor. Now you got both of them on the floor together. Kyrie can facilitate and score. Guess what? Luka can facilitate and score. Now they just need to make sure they got all the right pieces, which I think they do, to complement those guys. And so, and Luka and Kyrie just got to get comfortable with playing each other and trusting each other. I think that's going to be different, man. It's going to be different.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it. Practice the other day. You see him right here, like he look like he acclimating pretty good with the team.
Well, he's such a gifted player, man. Like, you know, like we talked about Bron earlier. You know, some guys, like God say, that's yours.
Yes.
He's one of those guys.
Yeah.
But the thing about it, when he do give it to you, you have to work it. Because let me tell you something, work without faith is dead. So you can have all the talent. It's more than just talent. There's a lot of guys that God gave that gift to, and they didn't nourish it. It's like a plant, right? If you plant that seed, right, and you don't put water on it and fertilize it, it's not going to grow. That's just like with anything else. So if you got that talent and the gift that God gave you, and you don't nourish it, and you don't work it, and you take it for granted, guess what? You're going to be one of them guys that go through college and be on the side of the street or working somewhere else or something like that. You know, the guys that really have it, who put in the work, who nourish those gifts and those talents,
right,
are the guys that go there and they stay there and they sustain.
Yeah, we know plenty of talented kids not kids, adults, people our age and a little younger back home who was talented. Oh, he could have went pro, he could have did this, but folks didn't have their mind together, folks didn't have the work ethic to go with the talent. So,
But you know what, Bert? I've witnessed so many guys, even some females, but mostly guys, right? Players here in Georgia, in Atlanta, right? They had that potential. They had it, had the goods. And when I say goods, like you had it all. And didn't make it. Didn't make it. Why? Now, here's the thing what you have to do when you're on that level, right? One is you got to surround yourself with the right people that's giving you the right information. You got to surround yourself with people that's going to tell you the truth, whether you like it or not. That's why I like Bron. His boys, they tell him the truth. They don't care. Those are his boys. And they listen. He listened to them, right? So if you surround yourself with people that you trust, right, that's knowledgeable of the game and what it takes to play on that level, then it will help you propel and be successful on the next level regardless what you decide to do.
So, keeping with the NBA, there was a situation that happened about a week ago. Ja Morant seemed like he's just been getting into it with people everywhere they go. And so after the game, supposedly some cats in his little clique or entourage or whatever was like shining like laser lights at the people at the Pacers while they were getting on the bus to leave the arena. And we from the hood. I mean, the laser light. That's like, I mean, it could have been guns, could have not been guns, but something like that. That's a really big accusation. What type of stuff did you deal with, like the after the game type situations, or even in game situations with people, getting mad, fighting, stuff like that? Like, what type of things did you deal with in your time?
Well, it's a whole different level now, man, comparing to when I played, and also, last 8, 9, 10 years. What I've noticed is, for example, I think a lot of the emotions and a lot of these guys start believing the hype, right?
Yeah.
Like, John Morant ain't built like that, bro. Let's face it.
100%.
He ain't built like that, man. No offense to you, my brother, but you ain't built like that. You ain't came from that. You ain't about that life, man.
Not at all.
So don't even, you need to stop that, man. Just focus on playing basketball and being the best version of yourself. You don't even need to project that type of image, man, because you got kids looking at you, man. You got kids looking at you, watching you, right? And they love you. They adore you. Now they going to think that's the way to act. So, man, you got to understand that. It's bigger than just you right now, because now you're a public figure where a lot of people adore. So make sure, man, you have to carry yourself a certain way, and then make sure you be careful with the people that you got around you. I'm saying that directly to Morant, right? I actually physically know his uncle. He's a good friend of mine. I trained his son, and I remember he was telling me the whole time, man, I got to get my nephew over here, John Morant. He was in 8th, 9th grade, and it never happened, but I remember him telling me about he wanted to bring him over. And, even watching his dad, man, his dad look like he don't want Hollywood. He all want to be all in the mix. I mean,
I know, right?
You know what I'm saying? Instead of just enjoying this process, laying back, play basketball, bro. Be who you are, but you don't have to be a gangster, man. You don't have to prove that. Like gangsters, like real tough guys don't have to prove that they tough.
True that.
You know what I'm saying? You don't have to prove that you tough. So, and I just think that, that's not, I don't think he need that type of image on his life and what he's trying to do, because that right there can magnify and bring energy to you that you don't need in your life.
100%. Everybody gangster till they run into a real gangster.
That's what I'm saying, man. This is real. You don't want to play that game, man. Just play basketball, enjoy this process, help as many people as you possibly can along the way, man. And just thank God that you're there and you're in this situation. You know how many people wish they was in your situation, and then you want to get there and be tough now? You want to get there and be tough? You want to be a gangster now? Come on, man.
And you mess up your money, like other potential sponsorships. Like, company's not gonna fool with you, man. They feel like you're gonna be on this type of energy. You taking money out your pocket.
Well, and that's the whole thing. That's why it's like, some guys, when you watch them and they get to a certain level, right, they think it's them. They think, it's like the attitude just change. And your attitude should change, but for the right reason, right? I'm gonna give you an example, like Kobe. And I always bring up this cat, man. I'm at an exposition game. Right? They was playing Atlanta Hawks. Never forget this. So ball went out of bounds. I had pretty good seats down close to the floor. And this dude, in an exhibition game, Kobe died at the ball to throw it back, an exhibition game, and threw the ball back in, bro. Exhibition game. So my point is, some guys play the game like they broke. They don't care about the money. They don't care about nothing else but being successful and being the best version of themselves. Right? And I keep going like LeBron. He was a professional. So it's a difference between a pro and a professional. And that's all part of being a professional, is how you conduct yourself on and off the court. And the image that you project, that's gonna live with you forever. So be careful, my young brother. John, man, come on, man. You got too much talent. You one of the most dynamic players in the NBA. And guess what? And you one of the guys that we looking to carry this league. But just keep in mind, man, our young brothers, everybody watching you, man, especially our young kids, man.
You better go have a conversation with Gilbert Arenas.
I know, right?
Remember that whole situation? He brought the guns in the locker room. I'm like, this dude tripping.
Yeah.
Speaking of fake gangsters, so then you got this fight between Mo Bamba and
Austin
Austin
Rivers.
Rivers, yeah. Doc Rivers' son. I always just call him Doc Rivers' son. Like when this joint happened, hold on, let me forward through it a little bit.
Yeah.
This is crazy. Look at this crap, man.
Yeah. Well, you know, like, I'm gonna be straight with you, man. Like, a lot of these dudes, man, in the NBA, and this ain't no flex. This is just real stuff, bro. A lot of these guys, you know, suburban kids, man. They're suburban kids, man. They don't come from, tougher times in life. You know, they had, most of them had two parents, right? And they was able to pay for them to go to all the camps and do all this stuff. And so,
Yep.
but then you get there, now you want to act like you're tough. If you watch some of these guys, ain't none of them really tough. No offense. Ain't none. There's only a few of those guys that's really tough, and they don't really talk about it. The ones who talk the most is the one that ain't gonna do that much. They just talk it, right?
Fake tough guys.
Yeah. But my point is this, man. It's an image. Everybody trying to act like they tough. They want to act like they gangster. They want to act like they street. Instead of just be who you are, man. Enjoy this process and thank God that you are there, so you can empower and help other people, so they can see you, man, and feed off of your energy, so that they know that they can get there.
So here's another angle. Hold on, right here in the top corner. They got into it right there on the sideline. Look,
Yeah.
don't like dude ever even threw a hit. That's threw a punch. That's crazy. It's like he was just scared the whole time.
Right. Well, that's the whole thing, man. Like I said, a lot of these kids ain't built like that, man. They're just not, So when things like that break out, it not only surprised me a lot of times, but it's just that, it just don't seem real, because that's not their nature. That's not who they are. And it's almost like, it's like they are, trying to act out to impress somebody that they tough. Like I said, tough guys don't have to show you that they tough until you revoke them or make them have to be tough.
I think there was another. Hold on, there was another fight. I think I missed this one. Donovan Mitchell and Dylan Brooks. This one crazy. He was cooking then, like Donovan. They've been the cat. Oh, he threw the ball at dude.
Yeah, but man, did you see? So that whole situation right there, that was, because dude hit him in his private spot with his fist. He hit him in his private spot, and so I know for a fact Donovan ain't.
Coach, come on, man, you ain't gotta say private spot.
Yeah, well,
Hit
hey
him in the
man,
nuts.
you hit him in his balls.
It's his private
He hit
spot.
that man in his balls, baby. This man got hit in the balls, and y'all know how that feel when you get hit in your balls.
That's crazy.
Yeah, hit him in his balls, man. So he reacted. But let me say this, though. Let me say this. I know for a fact Donovan ain't even that type of dude. He ain't even that type of dude. No way, no how. Right? And so last year.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. He did swing back. Okay.
Yeah. So last year, for my travel team program, his little nephew played for one of my travel teams.
Okay.
He actually sponsored sneakers for my entire program, man.
Oh, wow.
Donovan did. He did that through his foundation. The whole program, coaches, players, they don't. So the guy is one of the most nicest, most generous people that you ever want to meet, bro.
Yeah.
And so, and the other thing is too, while we talking about guys being tough, so your leader, John Moran is the leader, right? So now, this is the type of energy that's trickling down over the rest of the team.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yes.
See what I'm saying? That's the type of energy. So that's why these guys, everywhere they go, they trying to be bullied, because your leader is putting out that type of perception of this is how we are.
Right.
Because that's your leader. So you have to lead by example. What is the example that you want people to follow? And so that right there with Memphis, what they're doing right now, not to throw shots, but it is what it is. We're watching it. We got to understand, man, these kids are watching this stuff. So we got to do a better job, man, in controlling our emotions and making sure that we not walking around trying to be fight gangsters and all of that kind of stuff. That's the problem. We got too much stuff going on out here in these streets, man.
Trying to make it seem like it's okay, and it's not. Not at all. You run up on the wrong one. When I was looking up this stuff, I seen this thing in the women's game. This girl, hold on, I got it in my history. So the women's game is kind of getting a little testy also. And this girl, she laid this girl out with this, I guess it was supposed to be a screen, but to me, I felt like she threw her arms up when she set the screen. So she knocked the girl out, and then their feet get tangled up. One of them kicked the other one. Let me see if I can play this a little bit more. So at first you can't tell, but when they show it from another angle, okay, you feel like that's a legal screen? Like when you screening people, what is what I want? Tell me about your time. I know like cats used to take each other out. I know some of that stuff they can't do no more. But how do you feel a player is supposed to react? That's the real question. How is a player supposed to react if they felt like somebody cheap shot them on a screen?
Well, that's a loaded question, and it depends on the situation, right? And everybody.
You say that every question I ask, you tell me.
Yeah, it's loaded, baby.
It's a
that
loaded
was loaded. Let me tell you why. Oh yeah. So now she's playing. Now when they go to another level, when they start kicking and throwing punches, right? The young lady in the girls' game, she set a screen, right? She covered up her breasts,
right.
Set the screen, right? Girl ran into the screen, right? And it almost looked like it was really hard, but that whole entanglement, once they was coming to loose, when the girl who set the screen kicked her, you know, that was a violation right there. And then the other girl walked over almost like, right. The other girl walked over and almost kicked her as well. So
yeah,
when
for
the girl
those,
kicked,
for those at home, we're talking about Virginia versus Florida State.
Yes. So that's tough, man.
So it's like retaliation.
So let me say this, man. When I was playing in Europe, we was playing the Final Four. So in order to go to the championship game, we had to win this particular game.
Okay.
So they sent a guy in the game, you know, just purposely to foul me, like a violent foul. So I go up for a shot. The guy came across my head, boom, split my head open. So blood was everywhere, right? So I even got the photo. So I grabbed the guy, boom, in his chest. And so, you know, the hood was getting ready to come out.
Feel you? Yeah.
So I'm saying the hood was coming out, right? I was getting ready to take him out because, you know, he had done, you know, he hit me pretty hard. And then when I saw the blood, you know, so my teammate grabbed me around the neck and he got in my ear and he was talking to me. He said, man, don't do that, don't do that. You know, just telling me not to do it in French. And so I kind of eased down because had we lost that game, if I'd have got ejected from that game, we wouldn't have made it to the championship. That one game would have cost me $40,000, right? And so my point is, learning to control your emotions at the highest peak.
Yeah.
It's easy said than done.
100%.
It's easy said than done, man, because when people hit you, you don't know how you're going to react. The first reaction, somebody hits you, you hit them back. That's the first reaction, especially when you feel like somebody violated you. I get that. But when we in sports, right, and we being idolized by a lot of these kids, we got to be more conscious, just a little bit more conscious. And I'm not telling you, somebody come up and punch you in your face, you're going to be like, hey, man, no, don't punch me no more. Hey, you're going to do what you got to do.
Exactly, right.
You know what I'm saying? But, you know, it's ways like, if you get me in the game or you get me, I can get you back without anybody seeing it. I'm just being straight. And the ref won't see it, nobody don't see it. But if you get me with a sneak or you hit me with something, I'm going to get you back in another way. But, you know, I'm not going to hurt the team. It's what I'm trying to tell you. Don't do anything to hurt the team and then to hurt your image, right? You got to keep all that in mind, which is easier said than done.
So try to control your emotions.
You got to try to control your emotions. It's really hard because when you out there playing basketball and you run up and down, all your energy, your adrenaline and all that stuff flowing, man, it makes it tough.
Now here's the best angle right here. So she hit her. The girl tried to grab her feet with her knees, and she kicked it. Ooh, oh my God. Okay, ooh.
Yeah.
She kicked her right between the legs. Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough. And I've seen a lot of that too. You know, I coach girls. I've seen girls throw girls over their shoulders, like on the ground, like set blind screens. Come across people's back and chest with forearms. I don't know, man. But you're right. I mean, they got to control that. Right?
Well, I've seen some of the girls' games. Some of the girls' games sometimes is more physical than the boys' game, than the men's game, right? Because think about it. The girls not relying so much on athleticism, so everything is played on the floor.
True.
So they touching a lot. They hitting, they bodying up, you know? But I will say this, though, man. When I want to watch a really good, fundamental, technical basketball game, I watch women's basketball.
Yeah.
Because they do everything. It's almost like by the book. The pass, cut, pass, screen. They get the right angles. They get the right positioning. Receive the passes. Passing, receiving is impeccable. It's just fun to watch. And when they can shoot, bro, they can shoot. So
it's the purest form of the game.
Yes.
For sure. I love it.
Yes.
I love the women's game. And not to touch too much on women, I can see, you know, I can hear our male listeners just clicking away. Just want to touch on South Carolina real quick. They beat UConn the other day. And this ain't the matchup everybody's won. You know, UConn got a couple of players hurt. Everybody's waiting on South Carolina, LSU. But what's been happening is a lot of fans on Twitter, stuff like that, it's like a lot of hate towards South Carolina. And I'm wondering, especially like you playing overseas, being an American, playing overseas, like some of the stuff that you've heard or dealt with fans in the stands and stuff like that. And what you feel players can do, like when they're on those, online and social media, that shouldn't bother a player. But when you're on the floor and the height of it, like, what are things players can do to try to, you know, control that?
Well, I just believe that a lot of times there should be limitations to the fans as well. You know, it's just, you know, even though you pay to see the game, but you know, there's certain things that you shouldn't be allowed to do or to say to a player. Most people say, "Oh, I pay my money, I can say this." No, man, you can't say, man, you know, I want to mess with your mama, or, you know, stuff. You can't say stuff like that, man. That's not cool. You know what I mean? And people do that to revoke you, but a lot of times the great ones, they kind of turn their ears off. But I will say this, man. UConn has been here for so long, consistently.
Yeah.
Like year in. Gino has done an amazing job because he's one of the best motivators in the country in terms of getting his girls to play hard, play smart, and play together. That's the magic. He get the talent now. Don't get it twisted. And people try to make it seem like, you know, great coaches. No. Let me tell you something. Great players make great coaches. And so he understands that. But what make really, really good coaches, when those great coaches, when they get those players, and they get all those players to buy in one purpose and leave their egos in the locker room, that's what he's been able to do. That's been the recipe for his success. And he able to motivate those players to get to that level. Same thing with the South Carolina coach. She's done an amazing job.
Dawn Staley.
Yes, she is amazing. But see, the thing about her, she played the game at that level, so she understands what goes into it mentally. And I can't stress the importance of that. When you have a coach that actually played that have his own mythology and philosophy of how to communicate with his players to get them to play hard and play smart and play together. Those be the great ones. And you got some players, coaches, they screaming and holler, hey, how do the whole game, just screaming, hollering. So the players, most of the time they're sporadic, as opposed to when you see the real good coaches on a consistent basis, they're always calm in their spirit because they have to come, because the players feed off of them. They talking in real soft voices. Yo, you got to go right here. Then what do you think about, Jay, you got to go higher and just come back around that way. So they talk with a soft voice so that the players continue to stay calm. If you be around, well, we're going to do this. Hey, we got to go there. Then guess what? The team panic. So hats off to the great coaches, the outstanding coaches, and you know who you are in the country, and the coaches that's doing it for the right reason, that's really helping players develop, not just as basketball players, but as people. Hats off to you guys, man. We need more of you guys. Hats off.
Do you think it makes a difference, like with a coach who used to play versus the success, coaches who didn't play?
Well, it doesn't. It do and it don't. Because just because you play don't mean that you can coach.
100%.
Don't mean that you can coach.
The
right?
best players seem like always make the worst coaches.
That's what I'm saying. A la Magic Johnson.
Yeah.
A la Larry Bird.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
So those are examples. So it's all about, you got to be able to communicate. It's weird. I can't explain it. You got to be able to communicate effectively with each and every player. So there's some hats you got to wear, right? You got to be the coach. You got to be the mentor. You got to be the psychiatrist. Listen, you got to be the mama. You got to be the papa. You got to wear all those hats.
Right.
You got to be the friend, right? You got to be that. At some point, you got to be the person that they can come to and talk to about anything. That's what make the great ones, and build that trust. And then you got to be. The players have to trust you, because if they don't trust you, they're not going to play hard for you. Especially if they get checks. If they get checks, a lot of them, man, that's the hardest thing to do, man. Listen to me, to coach. That's why you see most of these teams in the NBA. It's like, even in the NFL, it's a revolving chair. Because when those guys start getting that kind of guaranteed money, it's hard to say, hey, man, look, this is what we need to do. So a lot of them guys be playing not to get hurt to get to the next contract. See what I'm saying? So, because they treat it like a business, as they should. But at the end of the day, you got to give people what they paid for. And you got to build your legacy. How you want people to remember you? That you just got the money and you ran, or you got the money and you performed and did what you got paid to do, right? And that's to perform at the highest level of your abilities. So I just think that, the great coaches, man, hats off to them, especially the ones that got the prima donna players that's making all this money. Hats off, man.
With college, and we can, kind of switch this a little bit to high school, between high school AAU, maybe a little bit of college. I'll say more high school AAU. Like with coaching, it's a lot of things on that level, high school AAU, that makes a good coach. But what are some things that, like, because I know we've had conversations offline about, yeah, you're a coach, but I mean, what gives you the right to be a coach? Or what is your classification? What is your, what are your credentials or whatever to make you what you are as a coach? So if we add like development into that, like what are some things that coaches should have from a player standpoint, some things that coaches should have to make them successful coaches? And also, how it kind of transitions into a player's development as well.
Well, I'm going to say this. I don't think you have to be a basketball player to be a good coach. That's the first. That's a myth. That's a myth. You don't. You have to be knowledgeable, though. You have to be knowledgeable, and you have to be passionate about learning, right? You have to be passionate about learning and conveying information, accurate information. That's one. Number two, if you have experience playing basketball at any level, right, that will give you an advantage, especially if it was real competitive. It was very competitive. That will give you an advantage, and especially if you were successful at doing it. right? That would give you the advantage because now you see things that most people who haven't done it can't see. Now, here's where the great coaching come in, the good coaching, and what we don't have around across the board is a lot of people, high school coaches, they be math teachers and stuff like that, so they don't really have the credentials.
Right.
It's just a job to them, right? But they'll go out and get an assistant that have some experience, which is cool. But do you give the kid all, because now they're looking at you as the head coach. You got to be able to converse with that kid and convey to that kid the information that he needs from experience so that he can maximize the potential. And then on the AAU level, that's a whole nother beast. Anybody can, you got to walk on the street and get a team and start and just go, hey, I'm a coach in this team. But a lot of these guys are not good coaches. They're just good recruiters. You know what I mean? They just good recruiters, and they get all these players, right? And they say, let's go out and win games. That's fine. But what happens is a lot of them kids don't never max out because they not playing team basketball, because everybody, it's individual. It's like, I do this, your turn, it's my turn, your turn, your turn. And guess what? They don't care about winning. They don't care about winning.
That's a good point. I never thought about that. A lot of these guys are just good recruiters. That's a great point. So in that instance, they should just run the organization, get some good coaches, some real coaches, and let them do the work. But they want to recruit and coach, and that's where I never thought about that. Okay.
Well, that's gonna be real important for the future of our game, man. Because this grassroots, whether people admit it or not, is playing a huge role on the development of our league and basketball in this country. Period.
It is, yeah.
And we go back, and I keep going back to these European guys, but man, they're here. And it's just, they're right in our face right now. And so we don't get our hands around the basics, fundamentals, and get people working with these kids that's knowledgeable and teaching them the right stuff, not 100 million, 2 million dribbles to make one move when you got a guy right in the basket, give him the ball and shoot a layup. Play quick. As soon as you catch the ball, it should be like a grenade in your hand. You either go, you pass, you shoot, or you look for the next action. That's what you should do. And that's what we should be teaching kids, the importance of space. And when you pass, what are you supposed to do? When you don't have the ball, what are you supposed to do? What is the importance of spacing? What is the importance of angles? Things like that. Instead of teaching them 100 million moves. A great player don't need to have but like 2 or 3 dribbles in his game. 2 or 3 dribbles. Just be able to handle the ball. You don't have to be a great handler. But if you got good feet work and you knowledgeable, of the game, it's gonna take you way past a lot of these players that's more athletic and rely on just want to score the basketball all the time.
Yeah, when I train and develop, everything I teach, because I center more around forwards, 3, 4, 5. Everything I teach is 1 dribble, 2 dribbles max. And that second dribble is probably a gather at the basket, to go through contact. But yeah, 1 or 2, 1 dribble is really all you need for every move, whether it's a shot or you get into the rim.
And I agree with that. I think that's really cool. But people talk about rhythm. If you want to play in rhythm, you have to drill in rhythm. It's like you dance. 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Like a boxer. It's timing. And so you build that rhythm, right? What it does, it creates your pace. Your pace. Everybody got a different pace of where they play. Like Luka, you can't speed him up because he's playing at his pace. And that's the separation. So when you want to play in rhythm, you got to drill in rhythm. 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. That's why, like Steph, he catch the ball. He even made this statement. The ball is like a grenade in his hand. He know everything got to happen when he catch the ball, whether he go or not. When he get off the ball, he out. Everything is in rhythm. That's his pace. You don't see every guy sprinting off like that because that's not their pace. But when you watch the guys that's methodical, even Bron, he play at a pace, and that's his own pace. And that's why guys being there, but is that his pace? And if the guy's not going like, all that, they think he's not working hard.
Right.
But you got to allow the guy to work and play at the pace that he's going to play in the game.
That's a good point. See what you dropping now is that's knowledge on a whole different level. Because I've heard coaches yell at kids about they want everybody to be at a certain speed or be fast or whatever, but that's knowledge because you want somebody to train at the same pace they're going to go at in a game. What's effective for them? That's what you're saying?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And what's effective and what's efficient and effective for them. But see, here's the thing. A lot of times, in most cases, all you got to do is be in position on defense. Sprint back and just be in position.
Mm-hmm.
Just be in position. And you alleviate making mistakes. Let me tell you, a lot of kids, players, they put themselves in situations to make mistakes.
100%.
You understand? So, but when you plan at a pace and you understand positioning,
mm-hmm.
right, the game become easier to you. Now you're not stressing. Just be in position. Whatever it takes for you to get in position, sprint back, get in position, right? Okay? If the guy got the basketball, depends who it is, you need to get buried in the corner. You go buried in the corner and watch the play. Go set a screen, back screen. Sometimes you go get the offensive rebound. Sometimes you backcourt based on what the guy do that has that basketball. So it's all about reading, reacting from that point.
How are coaches able to learn this though? Like, what can coaches do, or how are they able to learn to make sure they're developing players the right way?
Well, I think most coaches, a lot of coaches already think is my way or no way. They think they already know. See, because when you stop learning, you stop growing. So how can you help somebody? Mm-hmm. Like I've been doing this for 40 years or so. I played it.
Yeah.
I'm still learning. I'm still learning more about the game. I'm watching, I'm learning, right? So my point is, if you wanted to be a great coach, you just have to stay open. Like some of the things that we talking about, you probably never heard before. You probably never heard before in your life because I can break it down to a level that most people don't even understand.
Yeah.
In order to maximize each player, you got to go deeper. And when I say go deeper, you got to go all the way to the root, to the foundation of everything. Like everything I do is broken down. Like even if you're running, like it's 3 different types of steps when you're running. You got the long strides, you got the controlled strides, and you got the most important ones. We call them the soccer steps. So some people call them shuffle. Because when you take these short steps, you can make adjustments and you can be more instinctive. Mm-hmm. And so people don't understand that. So once you do that, you control your feet, you control everything. Period. Because you can do all that dribbling you want to, but if your feet not moving, where you going? That's why I do what I do. So to answer your question, man, they just got to continue to seek and get the right information, but stay with the basics and get kids to master the basics. It's all about the basics to the basics. Go even deeper to the basics.
And what about, since you mentioned the players, I mean, what about them? Like, how can they do the same thing? Like, how can they continue to learn to, just be successful, just in general, for their position or for their team or from their skill level,
They have to stay hungry, man. They have to stay hungry. They have to stay hungry for the work. They have to stay hungry for information. They have to continue to learn and try to seek and get the right information to make a part of a routine, their own personal routine. So every great player has a routine that they built over the process through their journey. And that's what the great players do. You continue to learn. Like every year, example, I remember when I first went to Europe to play, right? Bro, I'm getting to the basket so easy. I ain't had to take no shots. What I'm gonna shoot for?
That's like today's game. Just
Yeah,
lay
man.
up. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I ain't had to shoot. Hey, Bert, I'm getting to the basket so easy, like boom, 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 boom. I'm at the rack. Even though I was getting hit, it was an and one.
Yeah.
And then I saw what they was doing, right? They was driving the ball back then, turning down layups, kicking it back. I wasn't turning down on layup. I'm trying to dunk it or lay it up. But they was kicking that ball out. But lo and behold, I started to play that way, and it prolonged my game. You see what I'm saying? Because when I started kicking that ball out, it wasn't that first pass that got him. So if that first pass, if he opened, and the other pass, the guy running at him, that third pass, the guy gonna be shooting by himself. Because when the ball move, body move, that's a problem.
Say that again for those who missed it like me. Say that one more time.
Yes. Okay. So when you dribble that ball and break down that defense, anytime you get in the middle of the floor, as you know, you get in the middle of the floor, you break down. That's the key. That's the key to the kingdom. If you got guys can get in the middle of the floor, it breaks down everything.
Okay.
So once that ball come out, just say it come out, because we'll bury a guy in both of the corners, because those are the shortest two places to shoot a 3-point from.
Right.
So you bury those two guys in the corners, right? Mm-hmm. So when they come off that thing and that ball comes out, boom, once it come out, because somebody got to help to stop this guy.
Above, yeah.
So when that ball come out, if that guy is open, partially open, right? This guy going to be open, wide open, right? If he make that next pass, this was like dribbling. If he make that next pass, this third guy going to be shooting by himself.
Okay, gotcha. So you said something in the middle of that though. You was like, "This is how I extended my career, like
yes,
created more longevity."
Yes.
What you mean by to go deeper into that?
Well, before I was going to the basket trying to dunk on everybody, I can show you the marks, man, my wrist. Because back then the ball on the goal, they could knock it off. It wasn't no goaltender, so you had to throw that thing through the basket. So I got marks, and I'm opening my wrist up trying to throw the ball through that so hard.
Okay.
You go to the basket, sometimes you don't even see the basket. You know what I'm saying? Dude's so big, right? It's a bonus, guys like that, right? So I started dribbling to the basket, and it just opened my vision. So now I'm looking for my shooters. One thing about the European player, most of them can shoot the basketball. They was catching shooters, spot up shoot, boom, made. So I was making the game easy. I was just breaking them down, kicking it out to them, shot. So I became one of the best passers that ever played in France. Mm-hmm. One of the best passers. And I'm like, I was like 7, 8, 9 assists a game, right? Rebounds, got the most complete player, but because I was able to adapt to the way that the game should be played, which I didn't know coming from the United States, because everything with me was like, boom, boom.
Right.
But over there, it's like, feet work, hit, take that, 1, 2 dribbles in rhythm, kick it. You know, real simple. And when I started playing like that, and I saw what they was doing with their feet, that was a wrap. It added 6 more years onto my career, bro. Because the thing about it is, I became more efficient and effective, and the game slowed down. And I never had a bad season.
So explain that. So for the kids and older kids, teenagers at home, for them to understand. So you're saying it gives you longevity from not getting beat up, but also you're saying it gives you longevity because you're making yourself a more complete player, or
both?
Okay,
both. You give it because you're taking the stress off your body,
right? See
what I'm saying? Like some of the guys in the NBA, a lot of these guys, they hit the floor more than standing up.
Yes,
the ground is undefeated, bro. You see how? So first of all, like I'm gonna give you an example. John Morant, as good as he is, he go way up there.
Yeah.
But the higher you go up, the harder you come down.
And you got a little body too, man.
That's what I'm saying, bro. And then when he come down, after he come down and hit the floor with his feet, then he hit the floor with his body.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? So he got the one, you got to stay off that floor. 2 is nobody teaching these kids how to land properly. See, we teach kids how to land properly. How do you land properly? When you go up, try your best to come down on both feet so you can distribute the weight evenly across your body.
Exactly. And it's not just on your knees or ankles.
Yes. Because if you watch Derrick Rose, when he used to go up so high, man, and dunk that basketball, a lot of times, one leg hit down before. Same thing with Westbrook. Yeah. All these guys had injuries with their legs and stuff. So teach these kids how to land, man. That is so important, man. It's going to prevent a lot of injuries, I promise you.
That is important, very. So once they're doing that, I mean, how are they? That's probably the biggest question of every kid. Like, and this is something I've dealt with for years. Getting college coaches' attention, and let's talk about some of the stupid ways first before you give us the real. Let's talk about some of the bad things to do, the things not to do, to try to get a college coach's attention?
Well, one of the first bad things that you do, that colleges don't like, coaches won't like, is have a bad demeanor, like a bad energy, body language.
I've heard a lot of coaches talk about that.
Yes.
They watch you on the bench.
Yes.
Yeah.
Body language speak volumes. I'm gonna tell you a true story. Had a kid, Ralph Sampson's son. His name is Ralph Sampson Jr. And I trained him and I worked with him. And he also played on my AAU team. So we was playing this big tournament. We probably had about 300 or 400 teams in it. It might have been, it was Boo Williams or Bob Givens, one of those tournaments. So this is a true story. Ralph ran down the floor. He beat everybody down the floor like 3 or 4 times on offense and defense. Let's sprint. And he didn't score a basket. So Tubby Smith come in my locker room. At that time, he was at the University of Minnesota. Come in my locker room. Say, hey, Coach Bo, I want to offer Ralph a scholarship. Didn't score a basket. He just beat everybody up and down the floor. Mind me now, he's 7 feet, 6'11". He just beat everybody up and down the floor. Said, I want to offer him a basket. I said, okay. He went to the University of Minnesota.
That's a good point.
True story.
Good point. Getting coaches' attention. You know, I have kids, I ask them for footage. I'm in the process now of helping kids, you know, get kids with coaches, connect kids with coaches. And everybody that sends you footage, they always, whether it's the kid or the parent, they only send footage of them scoring. I'm like, basketball is not just scoring. I need footage of you playing defense. Can you pass? Can you talk on defense? Can you rebound? From your experience, like what are other things that coaches really like outside of what you were just talking about, like with hustle? What are some other things coaches really like to see?
Well, first and foremost, to even get the attention, man, I'm just being straight and transparent.
Yeah.
You got to have the talent.
First.
You gotta you gotta have the talent. They're not giving guys scholarship just because you're a nice guy. You know what I'm saying? Just because you're a good teammate. They're not doing that. Right?
But everybody feel their kid got the talent. So, you know, explain them levels of talent, like, you know.
Well, it's different levels. And quite honest, everybody's gonna be biased to their kid. But
of course, yeah.
The truth is the light. Like, some of your kids got it, you either got it or you don't. You know what I'm saying? You can work on it to maximize your potential, right? But that doesn't guarantee that you're gonna have enough to play on that level. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that no kid, because I would never tell a kid that he can't, ever. Because all things are possible. Because I've seen kids start off here and they be late bloomers. I've seen that.
Right.
But they had the right work ethic. They worked. And so they was able to get to that point. But you got some kids, man, they did, you know, and let's keep it real. Like, size make a difference.
True.
But my thing is, if you're good enough, you're big enough. I had a young man, Gerard Curry, 5'8". 5'8", went to Providence.
Okay.
The all freshman Big East freshman team, first year. Ended up going to play in Europe. Been in Europe about 15 years now.
5'8"?
5'8", bro. Big East, all Big East first freshman team. Okay? And he ended up playing in Europe. He got the most valuable player in Finland. So if you're good enough, you're big enough. But my point is, at some point, you got to be realistic with where you are. How do you determine that? How do you determine where you are? You got to measure yourself, not comparing yourself, measure yourself. It's a difference though. Because to me, comparison is a thief of joy. You got to measure yourself against other players. And you know, and be honest with yourself, because you got to look in that mirror and say, damn, you know, am I talented enough to play on the next level? And be honest.
Yeah.
And be honest. And that's a hard thing to do. Because I got kids right now, I got guys right now coming up to me, man, like, man, can you get me a job in Europe and that type thing? But bro, what are you doing every day? Well, I go to the gym, I go work out, and I go shoot around. What? And you want to do what? And you got all these guys around the country working their butts off, just came out of college, and you 6'1" now, you 6'2", and you want to go to Europe and play. I'm not saying that's impossible, because you're looking at a guy that was getting ready to be a police officer and walked on to the Hawks and signed a contract, but ended up playing a long career, 13 years in Europe. So I would never tell nobody no, but I had a whole different type of passion an obsession with being a professional basketball player because that was my only way out.
So I guess that's the next level since you mentioned it. Like for those guys who, okay, you made it to college, you had a decent career, of course, ain't but like you say, what, 30 to 60 players, between 30 and 60 going in the NBA every year. How do they get overseas? Like, what do they do to get those opportunities to try to play overseas?
Well, it's a few ways to get those opportunities. One is, again, you got to have the goods because now they're taking more players. Like back in the day when I played, it was only 2 Americans on each team, period. Or you got like one guy, he might have married a French girl, so he changed his nationality, so he had a dual citizenship, so he was able to play as a French player. So now you got 3 Americans, right? And then you can only have like 2 of those. But now if you want to have 5 Americans on each team, you can do that in some of these countries. But what they're doing is they think they don't need our players anymore, to be honest with you.
Yeah, you can tell that's really changing, yes.
Yes. And so what happens, because they think they don't need our players anymore, they'll go take a guy by the name of Chichinsky Shishaka from one of those countries, right, where you can pay them $1,500, right, and you're going to get similar results because they never got bored with the basics. And they ain't got to worry about no unnecessary crazy stuff going on because a lot of players go over there, and I've seen it. They want those people to adjust to their life instead of you adjusting to their lives. Mm-hmm. They don't stay. They don't last. But that's one opportunity. That's one situation you can get. The other one is you can go to some of these European exposure camps. But be careful. Be careful because all of them is a money grab. So you got to be careful with the ones that you go to. Do your own personal research and make sure you go to one that got legitimate, that will have GMs there in the presence, that will have coaches from Europe in the presence. Go to those and you'll see guys that get opportunities. So that's another way.
So you said money grab, so they charging them?
Yeah, they charge you to go to them camps. So you do a European camp, they can charge what they want, $200-$300, whatever they charge. So a lot of them kids don't get no opportunities. I had this one guy, he was doing these camps, so he had a relationship in Mexico. Well, it's a relationship. But my point is, it's different levels. Mexico, people don't even, like, when you say you play basketball in Mexico, that's like, I'm being straight with you, that's like playing high school, middle school. You know what I'm saying? The level. No, I'm being real talk. And they don't have the resources in Mexico to pay like the Turkey, the Russia, the France, the Italy, the countries like that, right? To get those type of players.
Okay.
So, if you're just an average player, you could get an opportunity to play countries like Mexico because every country got 2 or 3 or 4 different leagues. So those are options where you can get an opportunity. Or if you know somebody that's in Europe already, have a friend, go over and stay with him for a minute. So when the jobs come open, you can go right to the job and they can see you. They don't have to play for that flight to bring somebody over. Mm-hmm. That might be a way to get an opportunity as well. Because I did that for my nephew, Swain. So I sent him over to stay with my friend who's now was my point guard when I played, who's the head coach of the French national team, Vincent Collet. And so I sent him over there to stay in his house. He stayed with him.
Swain here
yeah,
in LA?
My nephew. Yeah.
Oh, I love Swain.
Yeah, that's my boy, man.
Swain a legend around here.
Yeah. So I sent him over there, and then he ended up getting him a job in Paris. Mm-hmm. So he got him a job in Paris, and then he did pretty good. He stayed over like 3, 4, 5 years, something like that. And then he came back to the United States and started doing his training.
How different is it? Like when when you're playing against European players, I know you talked about how their footwork is different, how every player is trained early just with the basics, but like just game time situations, how different is it with them playing against European players versus guys here in America?
Well, the difference is they're not gonna wow you. Now you got some of them will wow you. Most of those guys, they just play position. They're always in the right position. They know how to play without the ball in their hand.
Yeah, that's important, yeah.
They know how to play. If I can just pinpoint one thing, they know how to play without the ball being in their hand. That would
Yeah.
be the one thing.
I seen this video a little while ago. Dwight Howard. It's probably like a couple of months ago. Dwight Howard's playing in, I think, this Chinese league or something like that, and I'm just like, this dude could still play. You know, he could still play here in the U.S. Like the years what people talked about Dwight. Matter of fact, like the year he went to Charlotte and Washington. You know, they try to down him so much, but dude's still averaging like 17 points and 15 rebounds. You know, with a bad back. And I think it's just really, I don't know, it don't seem right with him. Because you know he's definitely going to be a Hall of Famer. Even though people try to clown him, I think he got Hall of Fame numbers. It just don't seem right with him playing overseas. Even Stephon Marbury played overseas. Maybe this goes back into what you were saying earlier about players not prolonging their careers. How does it happen with players like that, Dwight, Stephon Marbury at the peak of his career? How does that happen with players just kind of make their way out of the league and end up having to go somewhere else?
Well, I think it's a couple of things that contribute to that. One is, if your game is predicated on a lot of athleticism,
Right.
as you get older, the athleticism start to deteriorate. Then you have to play the game on the floor. Then you don't become more effective. You won't become effective like you did because you used to fly in the air.
You feel like they're just not used to that,
Yes.
playing pretty much playing the right way.
Right, because you got older now. You can't fly around. So now you got to play the game on the ground. So now your numbers go down, true. But then here's the other piece. There have to be something about you that the people around you like,
Okay.
that you don't play with, right?
Okay.
You can be yourself, and I think, in credit to some of these guys, man, they expect for all these guys to be perfect, man. You're not perfect. Why you want them? Why can't they be themselves? You know what I'm saying? Why can't they show their own individuality? Why can't they be themselves? But when you're a corporation, because once you get one of them jobs, you are a corporation.
That's
so how do you
exactly
want to run your business? And a lot of times, you know, even that we don't agree, the customers is always right in most cases. So, having said that, guys like Dwight, I think there could be a place for Dwight in the league. But I don't know if people really ever took him totally serious about winning. You know what I'm saying? I just don't think people took him serious about winning. That's my thing.
Yeah.
Producing, but winning. It's a difference between playing basketball and playing winning basketball.
That's interesting. So let's
It's big.
let's go a little deeper with that, because I think that's probably what a lot of players don't understand. They stuff in the staff sheet. They feel like I'm good. I'm scoring this. I'm averaging these points, these rebounds, whatever. But they're not playing as a winner. What does that mean?
What does that mean is doing what it takes. Doing what it takes for your team to be successful, to win on and off the court. Because at the end of the day, it takes what it takes.
Give some examples for the slow players.
Example. Example. When LeBron went to Miami.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Dwayne, what did he do? He went to the side. Because I want to win. I want to win better than I want to score.
Yeah.
I want to win better than I want to score. He made those adjustments. And guess what? They won. That's winning basketball. That's the mindset. Kevin Garnett went to the Boston Celtics. Paul Pierce moved over. And you got Ray Allen. Everybody played their role. They played winning basketball. And everybody respect their roles. And everybody held each other accountable.
Yeah.
That's winning basketball.
That's huge.
With no egos. That's winning basketball.
That's huge. A lot of players don't get that today. They just playing, and they're not playing a team game. You should play. If you play on 5 different teams, you should be a different player on every team.
No doubt.
Unless you are the man, but yeah, you should be a different player on every team.
But think about this, Bert. Let's go a little deeper.
Okay.
Bert, you hoop. I hoop. Remember when we used to go to the gym and play pickup?
Right.
You get 5 players that you ain't never seen before in your life. And y'all get out there and start playing as if y'all been playing forever together. Because everybody's accepting what it takes. I played on a team with pickup at the highest level. We didn't lose a game in 6 months. And they were bringing pros and everybody in there. We didn't lose a game in 6 months playing pickup basketball. In 6 months. Because we was a team. So what was happening is all the other guys coming in, they trying to get work, which is fine. But you can get, the game will be your friend or it'll be your enemy. If you play this game the right way, it'll be your friend. If you play it like it's you, it will be your enemy. If you pass the ball, you're supposed to pass the ball, and you shoot it when you're supposed to shoot it, it'll be your friend. If you're doing all this crazy stuff where you're dominating the ball, everybody think they got to take 100 million joules before you make one move, you suffocate the offensive flow. So when the ball move, body move, right, and you making those right plays and you buying into that. So what comes with that is a trust. It's a trust. Think about this, Bert. If you know you're going to get the ball to shoot it, you most likely you're going to make that shot because you know you're going to get it. The problem is a lot of times guys don't know when they're going to get it. So when they do get it, right, they're like, damn, do I shoot or what? And guess what? When you know where the shots are coming from, it's easy to offensive rebound.
Yeah.
That's why Dennis Rodman was one of the best rebounders ever. Now, he'd go get the ball, but he knew where the shots was coming from.
Okay. Okay. Well, we'll end on a note just to go a little deeper with that, and I want to circle back to what you just said, and just adding that into players trying to get the attention of coaches. So what's your last words you want to say to those young players who still trying to get to college?
This one I'm going to leave y'all with, man. Listen to me. First of all, don't let nobody tell you that you can't. Nobody. All right? Second of all, whatever it is, you have to work 3 times as hard as everybody else when nobody is looking. I'm going to say that again. When nobody is watching you, what are you doing? You got to be doing that extra work, whether it's running, building your body up, working on your game, by yourself. And so you got to be accountable for that, right? So that when you show up, right, you can show out because you're prepared. Make sure you do the work. Don't come to the gym and say, okay, I'm just going to play. That's fine. That's a hit or miss. But if you want to build consistency, performance, and be consistency performance, right? You have to do the work behind the scene. It's just like when you're studying for a test in college and you want to go past that test, right? Think about this. When you walk in that classroom because you stayed up all night studying for that test, right? You walk in that classroom, you got a sense of confidence because you know you're prepared. It's the same thing with developing and being prepared in your game to play at a high level. Because see, when you practice and developing, you studying. The game is your test. And so just know that. And then no matter where you go, make sure you got the right people around you. That's so important. And keep yourself in the right environment that stimulates what you're trying to get to. Try to be around professional players. Try to be around college players if that's where you're trying to go to. Get with the right player development coaches that's going to stimulate you and give you the right stuff, not just physically, but mentally too. And that's why it's important to get with somebody who played it before, which they can help you with the mental piece on a higher level. So I would say that if you got all those ingredients, and then from that point, when you go out, show out, carry yourself as a professional, man. You know what I mean? Don't come in with your pants down. You understand? And and all thinking that you the guy. Come in like, it's about business. It's about business. And show them that you're a professional, not a pro. I got some professional guys in high school. I know some professional 6th graders, how they handle their business. Right now today, they come in the gym. They don't even they have their sneakers in their bag. They got shower slippers. When they take them off, they put them on, put them in the bag, walk out the gym. They got a routine. They come in, they warm up. 6th graders, because they're being taught that. So you got to get a routine that works for you and build on that. So when you show up, you're going to be able to show out. get your routine, man, and stay with it. Show up and show out. Keep it going, bro. More power to you.